ناصر محتشمی، لیسانس در مدیا هستم، فعال حقوق بشر مال در بلوچستان. موضوع سخنرانی ایشون آیا اعدامها میتونه جنایات رو کمتر کنه؟ من از ایشون خواهش میکنم که شروع بفرمایند. متشکرم آقای محتشمی، بفرمایید.
Thank you, First Lady. Does death penalty has any effect on reducing the crime in society? Baloch people in Iran has been one of the national groups that is overrepresented in the arrest, execution, and extrajudicial killing in judgment to its population in Iran. Human rights violation in Balochistan has been presented since the scientist regime has ascended to power. Balochistan is a large region in Iran, including Sistan and Balochistan province and some district of Kerman and Hormozgan province. Baloch region in Iran border also Baloch region both in Pakistan and Afghanistan. It is also has a large coast in Makran Sea, which internationally known as an Arab Sea. This has made Balochistan a geostrategic region. Regime considered all kind of struggle of Baloch rights as security problem. Since Islamic regime coming to power in 1979, started arresting, executing, and extrajudicial killing of Baloch political, cultural, and social activists. Many Baloch political activists like Shafi Muhammad Zainuddini, Khosrow Mubaraki, Engineer Ibrahim Ashkan, Rahim Zadkohi, and Bibak Zadkohi either targets, killed, or executed. Since 2004, we are collected a list of 260 names of executed, assassinated people in Balochistan only. But we believe the numbers are much higher because the regime on many occasions transferred the Baloch prisoners to the prison of other provinces to carry out the execution. Most of the times, the prisoners are not given the right of having an independent lawyer and a trial, or conducted the way which suit the authorities. The executions most of the times are carried out in public square, and among the audiences are children. As I mentioned above, Iran has the highest number of executions carried out after China. Only in 2013, 30 people were executed in Balochistan. In starting Mr. Rouhani's government, 35 people has been executed across Iran, but only in 2 weeks. How the family members of the executed are financially and morally affected? I have interviewed several people who have lost their family members or friends as a result of execution by Iranian regime. They all said after losing their family member, especially if that one was the only earner of the family, they faced a very hard life. Their children most probably leave their education. The family would face financial crisis. As a result, children suffer psychologically. likelihood of those children suffering from psychologically disorder is very high. Some of them become drug addict or get themselves on the kind of social problem. Public execution affects society negatively. There is no doubt that regime by public execution, hanging them on the crown in the public squares. By those kind of public hanging, regime wants to ridicule the family and the friends of the executed prisoner. Among the spectators of those inhuman acts are children and young. There is no doubt that they are psychologically affected. This may affect their mental health and education. They might develop some sort of fear from security forces and authorities and not be as effective as he or her potential in the future in the society. Unfortunately, 2 children who were spectators of execution are killed himself. One in Kurdistan about 1 month or 2 months ago, one in Tehran. Does death penalty has any effect on reducing the crime in society, or is effective to stop people from struggling from their national, cultural, social, and economic rights? Islamic regime claim that most executions carried out to reduce crime and the people that are executed are criminal, but we can observe and adverse effect death penalty has not been effective to reduce crime. For example, in Iran, the Islamic regime of Iran executed tens of thousands of people, but crime and corruption ratio is increasing year by year. Drug dealing and drug addiction is getting higher and higher. Iranian authorities claim that most of executed persons are either drug dealers or drug addicts who were involved in other crimes as well. But we do not, okay, I will finish soon. But we do not see any reduction of those crimes because the main problem is the Islamic regime of Iran and its system, which is corrupt system and does not give any heed of human rights and international norms and values. Also, Baloch are under suppression and are one the peoples that affected more by regime suppression. Baloch people struggle in Iran is become more intensified. In addition, personally, I did a survey in London City. My question was, does death penalty has any effect to reducing the crime in society? 90% were disagreeing. 5% said don't know, and 5% said yes, death penalty has reducing the crime. To conclude, it is a sad and regrettable fact that our human rights in Balochistan and all Iran are being violated systematically by the Iranian regime. Balochistan Human Rights Organization is hereby requests the international bodies and human rights organizations such as UNHRC, and the EU Commissioner for Human Rights to take some practical steps for improvements of human rights in Balochistan, Iran. Thank you very much for your time.